video is a brief introduction to Carlson Layout, Carlson Software's newest data collection product designed to run on Android. I'm going to briefly go through a tutorial of how to use the product and get started. For more information on installation, registration, or system requirements, you'll want to download our installation guide. Let's go ahead and get started. When you launch Carlson Layout, the very first thing that you're going to see is what we call the dashboard. The dashboard is your one-stop location for everything that you need to get started with your survey. It allows you to review your setup and also to configure everything you need. So we start out by opening our site and our job. A site is just a collection of jobs, so I'm going to leave my site as office, although I could add a new one with the plus icon. For my job, I can either pick one from the drop list, and these are all the existing jobs in my site, or if I want more detail, I can click the folder icon, and I can look at my jobs with a job carousel. Now these are thumbnails of the jobs in my site, so I can kind of get a quick glimpse of what is in the job. I could also look with a list or use the calendar feature to see which jobs were done. You can see that I've done 4 jobs on June 22nd. So I'm going to start a new job instead, using the plus icon, and I'm going to call it Demo 4. Okay, and I'll leave my units in US feet. So the first thing you want to do when you start a new job, you don't have to, but you may want to import some data. So we do support the import of Carlson CRD and CRDB files, text files formatted as CSV, or any other way that you have an ASCII file with your coordinates in it. We support DXF and DWG drawing files, and then you can import surface files if you want as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pull in a drawing file. One of the benefits of being on Android is that you already have access to all of your cloud storage that you have registered to the device. So in my case, I have a Google Drive account that's already signed into this account. So I'm going to pull this file from my Google Drive directly. And I'm going to open this file, Civil Demo. Okay. So now that I've got my site and my job selected, the next thing I want to do is select the instrument that I'm going to be using for my survey. So again, there's a quick list of all the ones I've already used before here if I wanted to select one of those, or I can hit the plus icon to add a new instrument. Carlson Layout has all the drivers that are in ServCE and ServPC, the full Carlson driver library, so you can select total station or GPS. In this case, I'm going to select GPS, and you can see here we have all the manufacturers that you're familiar with from Carlson. So I'm going to use the Carlson BRX7. After I've selected my device, I'm going to go ahead and try to connect to it. And again, here's a list of all the Bluetooth devices I previously connected to. I'm going to hit the plus to find a new device. And let's just see what we find. I believe it's this one. So we're going to select that and go ahead and hit connect. Okay, so we have successfully connected to the instrument. Here I can review my rod height and all my receiver settings if I want to scroll down through here. So one thing I want to point out is that the layout product does have smart fields. So my job is in US feet, but if I know my pole height to be 2 meters, I can just type in 2m, and it will go ahead and do that conversion for me to feet. Okay, I can select my audio mode, some calculation settings, SureFix, some specialty features of whatever receiver I'm using. My elevation mask, my constellations, all that is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and go on. And then my RTK settings. So again, I can use my UHF, GSM, whatever I want to use for my RTK settings. I'm going to use Data Collector Internet, and I'm going to use a local interrupt server right here. So I can go ahead and I'll just let you see how this works. Here's my interrupt server set up. I'm going to click Done. Parameters here, and I can hit done, and it should go out and reach the series. It's going to get the source table. The mount points are listed here, and I can hit the info button if I want to see anything, the details of my particular mount point. So I'll hit done, and I'm going to hit done. It's going to go ahead and connect to my instrument, send all the settings, and finish the setup. Okay, so now we're back to the dashboard. And the next thing we have to do is our coordinate system setup. So I'll go ahead and walk you through that. If I hit the configure button besides my coordinate system, and I'm going to be asked to confirm my rod height. Okay, so for my coordinate system, I can do match local coordinates. This is if I have a job, I have some data in my job, and I want to match the coordinates that are already there. That's what we're going to do today. Some other options are to do UTM automatic zone. It's just going to go ahead and take a measurement and select the correct UTM zone for you. This is a good option if you are starting with a blank job or you know that you're using UTM coordinates. And beyond that, you can use the plus icon to access the full Carlson coordinate library. So everything that's available in any Carlson product is available here. And I should note that these boxes are searchable by country and by projection name. So we're going to do match local coordinates in this case. Note I can select my scaling here, and I can also load a geoid if I want. So I'll hit continue. So while we're in this screen, I want to give you a quick overview of some of the key elements that you'll see all throughout Carlson Layout, and that will be handy as you go through the software. So you'll notice that your rod height is always available in the top bar, and you can click it at any time to change it. Okay, so we're going to leave it the same. And the instrument battery power is available in the top bar as well, and the most important icon up here is your GPS status. You'll notice the green GPS indicates that the receiver is autonomous. The receiver is fixed right now. If it were to be yellow, it would mean it was float or autonomous. And if you see it go red, it means you've lost your Bluetooth connection to the instrument has been lost. So we can also tap that to get more information at any time. If I tap on that, I can see my latitude and longitude and elevation, my error estimates, my latency, basically anything that I want to know about the status of my GPS. And down at the bottom, you can do a reset RTK or a full reconfigure of the instrument from here as well if you're having problems. So the GPS status icon is very, very handy. You'll also note that if you go out of tolerance on your HRMS, your VRMS, your PDOP, you'll see those turn orange in the status window. So you'll see right away that something is wrong. It's very obvious, and the status icon will go orange as well. So tolerance becomes really intuitive when you use this icon. So to finish our localization here, we need to select a point from the map. If I wanted to clean up my map a little bit, I can hit my layers icon that's available anywhere and review my layers. Maybe I want to turn some layers on and off, or if I wanted to change a color of a layer, I can do that here as well. So there's my layers icon. I'm going to leave them alone. You'll notice that when I tap on the map within here, I get a zoom box that shows up beneath my finger. That's because I can't see where my finger is on a phone. So this zoom box indicates what's going on underneath my finger and which snap is being used. So in this case, I've grabbed the corner of this building and it's using the endpoint snap. See the orange endpoint snap icon. So if I let up, it's grabbed the coordinates for that and it's put them over here, and I'm going to hit create. So it's created a coordinate there where my finger was, and it's the bottom point in this list. So I'm going to say select, and now I'm in my localization screen. So if I were really in the field, I'd walk over to this position in the field, I'd tap the point, and I'd press measure. Okay, I've done a 1-point localization. If I want to add more points to my localization, I can use add point. I can also load and save existing localizations from within here, or I can delete my localization point if I'm not happy with the quality. So I'm going to go ahead and press done because I'm happy with my 1-point localization. And I get a quick report of what's going on with my coordinate system. Now I find myself back at the dashboard, and it shows me that my connection is complete, my coordinate system is complete, and I'm all ready to go with my survey. So now I'm going to go over the 3 main menus that are available in Carlson Layout. You'll see here on the left we have the Create menu. This allows you to do drawing in the field. So if I tap on Create, I get my flyout, and I get several options here. The point option allows me to just snap to and create points inside my drawing. So if I wanted to point at the corner of this building, for instance, I could just zoom in here and use the snaps to create a point wherever I want. Maybe I want it, I'm not doing a great job of this. here at the corner of the building, and I'll go ahead and let go and say create. And I want to create a building corner here and call create. So create points allows me to quickly snap and create points all over my drawing wherever I may need points. If I go back, we have a points from entity feature which you can play with, which will allow you to create a bunch of points at once by selecting a boundary box, or if you wanted to create all the points on a particular layer, you can do it all at once there. And the sketch feature allows you to very quickly sketch within the software. So if I for instance, wanted to create another building that was tied into 0.5 that I've created, I could go ahead and use 0.5 as my starting point. And so this is giving me a wheel that I can use to choose my direction. I could also type in an angle here, but in this case, I'm going to go ahead and say I want to draw a line north. I'm going to make it 25 feet. And I'm going to tap create. So it's created a line 25 to the north of straight up from 0.5. So if I wanted to finish my box, I would just go to the east here, and again it's still 25 feet, and I'll hit create, and down, create, right, create. So it's created a little square there off from 0.5, and I can use this to do very quick sketching if I need to create buildings, and of course I can use whatever angles and distances I want. So let me go back. And the last thing here is a reference grid. You're welcome to go in here and try this. This allows you to create a grid if you're somebody that comes in and you don't have an underlying drawing. Some people need to start out with a grid. So this allows you to create a grid based on existing points. The next major menu outside of create is the measure menu, which does exactly what it says. It allows us to measure points in the software. So I'm going to call my points test. Let's get that right. And I can choose a different, whatever layer I want. Maybe I want to choose, let's see, choose a layer there. And all I need to do is press measure to measure points. So this is just for basic point measurement. Now for the layout portion of this, I'm going to switch over to the GPS simulator because it's a little bit easier to use. So just bear with me a minute while I switch over. The GPS simulation is available on the dashboard. I'm just going to change my instrument here. And I'm going to choose GPS. The simulator is listed under simulation. Okay. In this case, I don't need to worry about any of my settings. Okay. So now I'm using a GPS simulator. You'll see that I've got joystick icons on the screen to help me guide it around a little bit. So let me show you how layout works. From the layout menu, I can create a list of items that I want to lay out. I don't have to have a list. I can create one at a time. In this case, let's say we want to lay out 0.5. So when I click add, I can add a point, a line, a surface, or an elevation. So I'm going to go ahead and add point. And we're going to pick point number 5, which is one that we created, and select it. So what you see here is the navigation state of part of my layout. So in this case, I'm 105 feet away from 0.5 with my simulator. So I'm going to try to navigate a little bit closer here. See if I can get there. And I'm walking in toward it. So I've got the big arrow, and what that big arrow is doing, it's showing me in real life, I'm walking in the direction of the arrow to get to the point. So if I'm out in the field, I'm going to be following that arrow as I walk closer to my point. The big blue arrow. I'm 14 feet away. Let's see if I can get a little bit better. Now, as I get close to the point, the big arrow is no longer useful. So we fall into what we call the proximity stage of our stakeout. What this means is I'm very close. At this point, I just need to push and pull the pole around a little bit. You'll see right there. You'll see these green arrows now indicate that I am within tolerance. So it's showing me which way I need to move. Maybe I need to move forward a little bit, to the right a little bit, but I'm within stakeout tolerance at this point. The 4 arrows indicate that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit measure. Somehow my rod height's gone to 0, so we're going to go ahead. Oh, this, when I switched to the simulator, I lost my rod height. I'm going to go ahead and leave that alone. And my layout results show me the design and the measured and my delta position. So I'll go ahead and store this. So that's how you stake out a point. If you want to use an even faster stakeout, okay, any place in the software, we have what's called the context menu. So if I zoom in on any point that I may want to lay out, and I can just quickly snap a point there. And you'll notice I get a context menu on the left-hand side. In this case, this little arrow icon only appears when I'm using the simulator. It allows me to jump my simulator to that location. But the more important icon is the stakeout icon. So I can just tap right here, and I'm immediately staking out this point without going into the layout menu and selecting it. So I can stake out very, very easily from the main menu, which is a key feature of Carlson Layout. All right, let me go ahead and cancel this stakeout and close this. Open and close these drawers by dragging them. And I'll show you a few remaining things in the software that you may be interested in. In the upper left-hand corner, you'll see our tools icon. What we have here is any tool that we want to make available anywhere in the software. The ruler tool is a quick distance measurement tool. So I can just grab anywhere and draw a line to anything that I want to measure. Maybe I want to measure between these 2 points. And you can see that I have a distance of 389 feet. That's a 3D distance. If I want to do a more formal inverse, maybe between points, I can select them from the point list here. So I can just quickly do an inverse. Let's do an inverse between points 1 and 2. I could also select these from the map. That's not what I meant to do. Do 2 and 3. Select. And so now I have my full inverse information available, the HDIST, SDIST, EDIF, everything I want to know about these 2 points. And lastly, we have an area tool that's available right here if you need to calculate an area. So that's the toolbox. Finally, in the upper left-hand corner, you'll find the Carlson pyramid. And this is where we keep all of our settings and also our import and export if you need to bring in more data at any time. You can find your points list here. This is all the points that you've created. There's a handy marker that shows you how the point was created. You can see that these points 1 and 2 were created by snapping to the map. Point 3 was read with a GPS. And so we can scan to the right to see the timestamps on all of these. And the neat thing about this is also filterable up in the top bar. So I can filter it by name, description, and layer to quickly filter down my points list. If I need to do a report of some type, that's where we go to exports. So we can export a coordinate report, a stakeout report, or a drawing. So if I wanted to export a coordinate report, I can choose the Carlson CRD, the CRDB, a CSV file, HTML, or PDF, or even just an ASCII file. So I'm going to go ahead and do a PDF of all my coordinates. And you'll see that a PDF file was created here that I can quickly send to somebody. And the great thing about using Android is that if I want to share this with someone, there's a handy share icon already available. And this is going to give me access to any method of sharing that I already have available on my device. I can quickly email it to somebody, save it to my Google Drive, text it, however you want to send this file. It's all right here at the tip of your finger, ready to use. So if I wanted to email this to myself, I'll just tap here. And I just go ahead and send it to swinter@carlsonsw.com. And I've sent the file to myself back at my desk. Very, very handy. So that's available for any type of export that you can do, whether it's a stake report or a drawing. You can always share it with anybody that you need to right on the fly. Lastly, we have some settings, just job settings, maybe your distance units, proximity settings, GPS tolerances, and your snap settings if you want a little bit more fine control over which snaps are used. That's available here as well. And in the About screen, you can change your language or change your registration. So Carlson Layout is available in a lot of languages already, and the list is growing. So that's your quick overview of Carlson Layout. I hope that you will dig into it and learn more for yourself about how it works. And always contact us at support@carlsonsw.com if you have any problems. Thank you.